Hi guys! Today we're obviously starting a brand new vlog, so come get cozy, settle in. If you're new around here, welcome. My name is Marcelina. I'm a 15-year-old teen author of The Blood That Divides Us. It is a YA high school murder mystery romance inspired by A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Binding 13, and it released a few months ago on January 25th. Now, I obviously must have commitment issues or something, because not even a few months later, like when I should be marketing, I have instead shifted my focus to brainstorming a brand new book. So, the book we will be working on today is the one I've been working on for about a month, aka hyper obsessing and hyper fixating on. If you have been around my channel for a while, that's literally all the content that I've been posting because I am so addicted to what I have so far, which is literally just the characters and a brief general idea of the plot. Nothing concrete though, which brings us to what we're doing in today's video. I will be, as you can probably tell by the title, planning and creating the chapter by chapter outline for this new work in progress. Now, I've gotten several questions over the past few months about my outlining process and what that looks like. So to give you a brief idea, my outlining process as a hardcore outliner consists of 3 main steps. The first one is the brain dump, which is basically self-explanatory. It's literally this brain dump chaotic document that I throw together. I use random symbols, random fonts, I use random references and stuff that only makes sense to me, and I just write it down. And the whole point of that is, ideally that's what you want to start at when you get a fresh new idea, and it's just like, okay, I want this trope, X this trope, I'm thinking of having this type of character, I know that this romantic relationship is going to be endgame. Like, you kind of just throw out what you have so far, and it doesn't matter if it's messy, it doesn't matter if it's all over the place. Like, it's just for you to kind of get your ideas out so you can organize them later. The second step is the character profiles, which is a really long document that essentially allows you to flesh out each of your individual characters, or at least the significant ones, so that you can not only figure out the face value stuff like their appearance or their name, but like really get into their internal conflict, because internal conflict is such a big deal in stories. And so that's what I've been doing the past month with all of the main and a couple side characters that are like side characters, but they're still very relevant. So that's really what I've been doing. But now I've finished that, we are graduating to step number 3, which is, if I'm being transparent, my favorite part of my outlining process, and that is the chapter by chapter outline. So what that looks like, you'll see as I start to go through this in the coming days, but basically I just have this big document, and I use Google Docs, and then I use the table chart feature. I make 2 separate columns. So one column I put the chapters, so I'll go chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then in the other column I will have a short description of what I want to happen in each chapter. So, for instance, I'll be like chapter 1, and then I'll go over to that column that is right next to chapter 1, and I'll be like, this character, I'm just gonna make up a random thing. By the way, this is not what's gonna happen in the book, the work in progress I'm working on, but this is just an example to throw out there. I'll be like, this character wakes up late from school, and when they get to school, there's a new student. That new student looks familiar. Like, it's literally just, you don't even have to write full sentences, and oftentimes with my previous chapter by chapter outlines, I don't write full sentences. Like, you don't need to worry about that. The whole point of it is to make some clarity to you, so you kind of have a roadmap. So when you eventually start writing the first draft, you're like, okay, I know XYZ has to happen. You don't know the details, and that's the fun part of writing, because you're leaving the specifics for when you actually sit down and write. So you're not like completely planning things out, but at least you have an idea of like, okay, I need to accomplish these 3 things. This character needs to be introduced, they're gonna meet this other character, and this other major event is going to take place. And you know that, so you have a baseline to work off of, and then it's much easier to go about it so that your writing process is more streamlined. That's the whole idea here. And this does not work well for everyone. I just want to preface this, like, if you're a pantser, aka you're someone who does not like outlining, you do not like planning out your work ahead of time, you would much rather prefer jumping in headfirst and giving it a go, then that's totally fine. Like, that works for so many writers, and honestly, more power to you. But for me personally, that's just not how my brain works. I need to have some direction, some sense of what the heck I'm doing prior to writing. Which, by the way, I don't know if I've said this, but I'm not going to start writing the first draft until probably the end of May, because that's when I finish school. And the thing I've learned about me and all the many rough drafts that I've ever written for any other novel, when I'm writing the first draft, I am so hyper fixated on it, that's all my brain can think about. I get like almost obsessed with it. And I physically cannot afford to do that while also being in school and juggling finals and extracurriculars and all the other things I have going on in the next month. So we're waiting until school's over, it's summer, that's when we'll start writing. So anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked. This is where we're going to be working on the chapter by chapter outline. By the way, I have absolutely nothing written down so far. I have nothing in the document. I have no idea. I know there's going to be a prologue, so we'll start there, I guess. But come along for the journey. Let's see what we come up with. Hi guys. So I don't really know if you care about a non-writing related update. Do you? Doesn't matter because I'm giving you one anyway. It is currently Wednesday, April 9th. It's about, I don't even know what time it is, girl. It's almost 3 p.m. So I've been home for about an hour from school. And okay, so this is where the non-writing update comes in. So I'm like really giddy right now because I actually had to stay after a little bit for student council interviews. So basically at my school, the student council application process is a 2-step ordeal. The first one is the actual application, Google form. So it was a multi-page thing. There was several steps to it. There was a video we had to do. There was a resume PDF we had to submit, Google Slides, upload of our transcript for GPA purposes, all that kind of stuff. And it was due last week, actually a week from today, last Wednesday. I actually submitted it a couple weeks early. So I submitted it mid-March. I feel like in one of either my Jaden or my Kyle outlining vlogs, I talked about how my throat was dead because I had to re-record the application video so many times. So if you remember that, you were here since the beginning. The group of people that were accepted based on their application form got to move on to step 2, which was the actual interview part in person. Low-key nerve-wracking. I've never met the student council teacher before, so I had no idea what she was going to be like. I have a wide variety of teacher personalities this year, so I was terrified. Spoiler, she's so sweet. So then it was her and the student body ASB president guy was chiming in because I guess he has a say too. So then they asked me questions. A lot of them were recycled from the actual application, so it was relatively easy to answer. Toward the beginning, I started to get more comfortable, but in the beginning my voice was shaking. It was bad, but I did good because I got really comfortable and I was making jokes and laughing with them, and it was fun, but I also remained professional. So anyway, she said that if I do get accepted, I will get an email from her either Friday or Saturday of this week. So I presume I'll still be continuing the vlog at that point, so I will give you guys an update with that. Anyway, I know this is a really non-writing related update, but I just feel like these vlogs, they're kind of a glimpse into my life, an insight into my day-to-day teenage self-published author life, managing, marketing a book, planning another book, while also being a freshman, almost sophomore in high school. It's wild. So I just thought I would include that in there. It's definitely a very prevalent thing going on in my life right now, and it's one of the things that if I do get in, it's a huge time commitment, and obviously I will prioritize that over this book. So that's another reason why, for all of you that are wait, February or March of next year, that's so long. I know most of you are joking and you seriously are so patient with me, but it's this is a huge deal, so that would be why. But obviously I'll keep y'all posted. You'll probably know within the end of this vlog whether I got in or not. Fingers crossed. But on the writing spectrum, let's switch topics entirely. I'm actually just about to start. Okay, I will admit I did not do anything. I did the prologue. Does that count? I did the prologue. Okay, and technically it was a roundabout kind of thing because I already wrote what I want the prologue to be and I brainstormed the first and last line in the notes app on my phone. So we were ahead. That was easy peasy. Okay, I guess I can say this. So I did kind of think about the prologue, and the prologue is going to be from Natalia's POV. I'll just say this, most of the book will be in Natalia's POV. And this is on the most of part. I'm not gonna say anything about the whole book because the whole book is definitely not in her perspective, but most of it. You'll just have to wait and see who the other POVs are from. So if you have any theories about which other characters are gonna get POV chapters, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you all are thinking. But yeah, the prologue is still going to be Natalia's POV, but it's definitely different because it's a flashback to the day Allison went missing, which is 5 years ago. So Natalia is 16 in the present story, so when Allison disappeared, she would have been 11. So I'm a little scared to write it. I mean, I'm not writing it now, I'm just like brainstorming, but how do I write from an 11-year-old's perspective? Like, I don't know. Like, I've written in, I think the youngest I've written, I wrote one POV flashback chapter for a 9-year-old. By the way, it wasn't in Love Divide Us, it was in another project from like 2 years ago. It's really old and really bad. I cringe looking back at it because it feels so weird. Like in actuality, I swear that girl's like 7. Like I cannot do, and like an 11-year-old, it's hard because I'm trying to think back to when I was 11, and the thing is when I was 11, it was like end of COVID times, and I don't know if you guys were on TikTok or any sort of social media during COVID, but guys, the slang and the brain rot went crazy. So trust me, I'm not like one of those kids. I can't really use myself as an 11-year-old because first of all, I didn't even do much because it was literally COVID, so I was inside listening to music, reading, and playing Roblox all day. Like, I'm not a good example of what most 11-year-olds do. I don't know any 11-year-olds, so basically, I'm gonna have to think on that because Natalia, she's very like introspective and reserved and closed off now, but that's only because of what happened to her. Well, not to her, to her sister, that like, it reflects on her and it really greatly affected her within the grieving process, you know. Older sister presumed dead, like that wouldn't have a huge impact on an 11-year-old, would it? All jokes aside, I want her to be like, prior to this incident, I want to show the contrast that she was very bubbly, very extroverted and funny and goofy and silly. So it's like, I don't know. But anyway, the prologue's pretty easy to at least brainstorm and think of like some lines. I have a thing with prologues. Don't come at me, they're overly hated. Hot take, prologues are overly hated. They don't deserve the hate. They're so, if you do them right, they can be really intriguing and really, really hooking. And that could be a really good marketing tool as well, because when people like open up a preview of your book on Amazon, or even if they're in a bookstore and they pick up your book, I don't know if you guys do this. I will literally stand in Barnes & Noble with my mom. She'll just be standing there so bored, but I'll start flipping through and like reading the first page. A book has like 3 or 4 pages to interest me. My personal thing, it's a quirk, okay? But like the prologue can actually, it could either work in your favor or it could ruin all your chances of getting sales. So basically, I try to do it right, but I have hope. I have lots of faith in this prologue. So that's all we've done so far. Not a very productive update, but it's fine. We're gonna get back to work and keep outlining these individual chapters. Wish me luck. I know it's dark in here. Ignore the lighting, please. It's like 7 o'clock at night. I am so freaking overstimulated. I get overstimulated really easily, and there's just a lot of things that are happening, and I'm really overstimulated, and I was sitting at my computer and I did nothing. I literally am still on the like I have not brainstormed past the prologue. I stopped on chapter 1. I haven't done anything. It's been like, I last updated this vlog at like 3. Like, I don't even know what to say. I genuinely don't even know what to say. I wasn't working the entire 4 hours, but a good chunk of it, and why is planning a book so hard? I want to stop. I actually hate this. Like, I actually hate this book so much right now. And maybe this is just because today's been rough and I'm so done and I'm so tired and I can't right now. I think I'm having a slight mental breakdown because I actually hate this book. So, yay, love my life right now. Update. So I have officially finished outlining the first chapter. We've made some progress. I'm feeling a lot less depressed than I was yesterday. And also, little side note, I did not know that being a writer / author meant searching up recipes for pumpkin chai spice cupcakes with cream cheese frosting, because that's what my female main character is baking in the first chapter. Yeah, very fall-esque, because like I said before, the book takes place in October and November, so gotta get the fall vibes. Alright, hello guys. First and foremost, please do not mind these like pigtail things that I'm doing with my hair. I don't really know what these are. I like did it with a little bit of my hair so I could have some in the back, but then it got like kind of frizzy and knotted today, and I don't know what this is, okay? Like, I feel like it's one of those things, it's like not a wash my hair day, and my hair, I didn't have a lot of time to actually do anything with it, and so it just looks weird. So that's when I go to these like elaborate hairstyles that sometimes don't turn out. So anyway, ignore that. It doesn't, not my favorite. It's a love-hate relationship. As you saw from the last clip, I got Fearless. Of course, it's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I have to match the other two, technically. If you weren't here for that, I had dragged my mom to Barnes & Noble and I got the special edition of Powerless and Reckless, not of Powerful. I was literally so mad because when I went into Barnes & Noble today, there's a whole like Powerless table that had all 4 books on it. Of course, they had the special edition of Powerful. Like, where was this 2 weeks ago when I went? So anyway, I don't have the special edition of Powerful, the novella, but I have the special edition of the other 2 plus this one. So anyway, the cover is so pretty and I love the tagline: betrothed, betrayed, destined for each other. I've been pretty good at staying away from spoilers. I saw one spoiler. Okay, here's the thing. If you read Fearless, it's one of the things that I kind of expected, low-key, and like I'm not mad about it. All I'm gonna say is, as a certified Kit hater, I'm not mad about it. But anyway, I also low-key got spoiled for the last chapter. Literally wasn't even my fault, okay? Someone did not put a spoiler warning in them. If you know, you know. I mean, anyway, I'm still so excited though. Like, I really genuinely am. But anyway, that's a little bit of a side tangent, but I figured, because as of the time I'm recording this, I don't think I said what day it was. Oh my gosh. So as of the time of recording this, it is 3 days after the release of Fearless. So literally that's all that's been on my For You page, you know, because my For You page is very bookish tuned. So that's all that's been on my For You page is this freaking book and the release and people like hyping it up. For the most part, it seems well received. I've seen a couple of like disappointing, bittersweet, like, and this was a letdown kind of reviews, but for the most part, everyone seems to give it 4 or 5 stars that I follow, so that's good. But yeah, I just figured, because that's really significant right now at the time of recording, it would be monumental for me to add in here. But anyway, it is currently Friday, April 11th at about 3:30 p.m. We got home not too long ago. We were at DSW shopping after I received the book. Got a cute little summer fit going on. You can't really see it unless I actually stand up, but it's cute, like little summer thing. A flower right there. It's cute shorts. Yeah, I'm with my pigtails. I feel very summery today. It's like 96 where I live, but anyway, we're in a vibe. Let's see, writing related updates. Okay, I will admit, not the last clip, but you know, I was like feeling really depressed. Like, I'm good now. I have been working on the second and third chapter, so I have figured out that the second chapter is where Natalia is going to meet Jaden. Now, I just want to discuss something for a minute. So, how do I say this without spoilers? So this isn't spoilery because, like, I've kind of hinted and implied this in my edits, but, okay, is that Natalia, the FMC, gets recruited to this FBI program for teenagers called the Bureau. It's run by Kyle. So Jaden is a member. He's an investigator, technically investigative analyst, but investigator for this group. And so he's just a member, but Kyle's like the leader and he's the one that can technically recruit people. So that was always going to be the inciting incident, which, if you don't know, that's like a story structure term. Look up like Save the Cat Beats or like story beats, story structure online. If you don't, I recommend this book, Save the Cat. It's so freaking useful, and there's so many valuable things you could take away from it about story structure and using the 7 acts and all of that. Basically, the inciting incident is kind of think of it as the gasoline that fuels the plot, metaphorically. Kind of like that one thing that starts the whole story. So, for instance, in Binding 13, which is, if you don't know, literally one of my favorite comfort series in the entire universe, go read it right now. We'll check trigger warnings, but go read it right now. But in Binding 13, the inciting incident would be when Shannon, and this isn't spoiler really, I'm pretty sure it's on the blurb, when Shannon gets hit in the head with a rugby ball by our main character and love interest, Johnny. And that's kind of, I forget what chapter that's in. That's a few chapters in. So the inciting incident does not have to be in the first chapter or even the second chapter. And it doesn't mean, oh, this is the very beginning. Oh, this is the first time that characters meet. It could literally be like 5 chapters in. It's really just the one like dramatic change of events that quickly shifts everything and like starts getting the storyline going so that we can have a progressive order of events here. And so that would be the inciting incident for that book, because that's kind of what rocket launched everything. Like, there was a lot of introduction prior to that, but that's really what started it off. Similarly, with the Naturals series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the inciting incident would be honestly, the inciting incident would be in chapter 1, I would say. Like, that's one of the few examples I can think of where it happens in chapter 1, when Michael leaves her that little, like, business card that essentially links her to Briggs and recruits her to the FBI, which she finds on the table at the end of chapter 1. It's like the last line of chapter 1. But that would be a prime example of it, because it's what really sets the like domino effect of everything else in the book, and honestly the whole series. That's what gets it going. So anyway, there's kind of a hot discourse in the writing community about when should your inciting incident happen. Now, in my personal opinion, I prefer, and this is my personal preference, I'm not saying that this is correct, nor am I saying this is what you all should agree with, but in my opinion, the inciting incident should happen in either the second or the third chapter of a novel. I don't really like when it happens in the first chapter, and I love how I just said that when I just named the Natural series, which is literally what this new book is inspired by, having it in the first chapter. Not Target, I adore the Natural series, all like 6-star reads for me, okay? But like, not my favorite. And then anything past that, like in ACOTAR, for instance, the inciting incident would be when like Tamlin in his beast form broke down Feyre's door. If you know, you know. And I'm trying to remember, that didn't happen until like chapter 6, chapter 8. I don't remember, but that was like a long time. So, in my experience, chapters 2 to 3 are perfect to just slide that in there and then start introducing the conflict and getting the story started. Like, that's kind of my ideal story structure. First chapter's introduction, getting to know the characters, doing kind of like a day in their life, but not a day in their life, like a day in their life that's interrupted and that's been kind of like a really pivotal moment that gives us a hint into their backstory, their trauma, if they have any. Let's be real, every single person has trauma, like in the real world and in books. You could be the most sunshine person and you will have some sort of dark past, even if it's not as extreme as someone else. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. So I like to use the first chapter as that to get people to kind of care about the main character or characters. And then usually in the second or third chapter, for me most likely in the second chapter, I'll start introducing like our main problem here. Like, what is going on? What is the point of this story? What's happening? All that. So anyway, my plan is to have the inciting incident, which is when when Natalia and Kyle meet, which will be on Halloween, and then Kyle slips the card in and like recruits her to the FBI, like lets her know that this program even exists and shows interest in bringing her in as a hacker. That is going to be the inciting incident. That is going to be what really changes everything, quite literally, and that is going to happen in chapter 3. Like the end of chapter 3 going into chapters 4 and 5. That's kind of my plan. So I've been working around that because I feel like, again, chapter 3 as the inciting incident is perfect. So my plan is to have her, she's like baking and stuff in chapter 1. Chapter 2, she's going to meet Jaden. I'm so excited to write that scene. And then chapter 3 is going to be the first half that's going to start off about her just kind of describing how she's spending her Halloween, and like what she's doing, because that plays a big role into her character arc. So I think it's important for me to mention it's not like arbitrary. I'm not like, girl, this is so random, what are you doing? Like, trust me, there's a point of why I would do that, but I'm planning to do that. And then toward the like middle / end of the 3rd chapter is when she'll meet Kyle, and then that's when he'll recruit her and things will start happening. And yeah, so that's kind of what I've gotten so far. I'm also trying to, because there's going to be several POVs in this, actually I don't want to say several, there's going to be a couple of different POVs, but they're like really sporadic POVs, so I'm also trying to figure out where the heck I want to put those in a way that makes sense, that fits in with what's going on, the plot, the timeline. There's a lot to consider. So anyway, it's a Friday. I'm so happy. I should be hearing back on student council results, so that's exciting. And then I got the book I've been literally waiting for forever. Literally, if Kai and Peyton do not end up together, Lauren, you better run, because they better end up together, I swear. And then we're just gonna be writing for the rest of the night. Probably watch something. I think a new episode of my family and I's favorite show that we like to watch, that a new one drops tonight, so probably watch that. Also, my friend, she is so sweet. She bought me, our school like sells these bundt cakes, these mini bundt cakes, and she bought me one. So I have a red velvet bundt cake that I need to put in the refrigerator so that I can eat later, probably while we're binging the show. And I'm gonna just kind of get some writing done. Well, I don't want to say writing, outlining done. And we will see where the rest of the night takes me. I'll update you guys later. Update. Okay, so apologies in advance for how I sound. A little bit of foreshadowing for what I'm about to say, but you can probably tell I'm sick. It's several days later, like several days. Like, I'm really sorry this is not a more enjoyable vlog. I meant to vlog more over the weekend to actually like take you guys along for my process, but it's currently Tuesday, April 15th right now. The last time I updated was Friday. I got Fearless, I went shopping. I was so content. And then I swear, Friday night, like right after I recorded that video, I started getting a sore throat, and it just ricocheted from there. So basically, I've been miserable all weekend. I actually missed school yesterday on Monday. I was so miserable. I still sound so nasally, but we're just gonna push through. So I'm so sorry I sound so bad right now. All I did this weekend, aside from resting and getting better and literally just doom scrolling, I swear, read this lovely book. It's so good. Got to the trials. If you know, you know. I swear, I'm getting Powerless flashbacks. Why are there trials again? Like, girl. And then I did outline. So let's talk about that real quick. I did get up to chapter 10 with my chapter by chapter outline. So basically what that means is I've brainstormed a couple sentences describing what will happen up to chapter 10. Technically 11 chapters if you count the prologue. So like chapters 1 through 10 plus the prologue, if that makes any sense. So I do know what's gonna happen. I am a little bit stuck, only because
I don't know. I'm afraid that it's going a little bit too slow because I have it in my notes where her first day, Natalia's first day at the Bureau is like chapter, I have to go back and like double check, but it's chapter, I want to say it's chapter 8. I don't know, like I'm up to chapter 10, things have happened. She's now meeting people, she's meeting some very significant characters who are connected to her sister's disappearance, all that fun stuff. But it's like, am I going too slow? I estimate this book is going to be around the same length as The Blood That Divides Us, my last book, which ended up being, well, I'm just gonna break it down, it ended up being about 90,000 words, which translated to 440 pages, I want to say, paperback form, and I want to say that was like 45 chapters. I strive for the chapters to be shorter. I love short chapters. I'm kind of getting obsessed with them, and I think if they're done well, they're amazing. Like, they're so good for pacing, and I really want to improve on my pacing. So I'm going to try to do shorter chapters. So it might end up being more chapters than The Blood That Divides Us, but like roughly the same amount of pages, I'm thinking. I swear I have no concept of time or pacing when I'm planning my novels, so we're figuring it out. We have some interesting search histories so far. And I've planned 2 flashback chapters thus far. So that's amazing because y'all know I was struggling to figure out where these freaking flashback chapters of a certain character, wink wink, is going to go. Because she's mentioned so many times, but I was like, do I want to do a whole thing every chapter, like every time that she's mentioned? The problem was I had this whole flashback planned out that revealed the character's name, okay? And it was like this whole thing with this character 5 years earlier. By the way, the flashback chapters are going to be diary entries, so that's super interesting. It's going to be fun for me to write. I'm so excited for this summer when I get to write this book. I was going to have this character that the POV of the diary entry is from. She's going to be like ranting and complaining about said character. We'll call him character B. And she's going to be ranting about character B. But then another character, I made a mistake of outlining the previous chapter, chapter 2, where character A, a different character who's one of the main 3 characters, I can just say it's Jaden, introduces himself, and he reveals something that we literally find out is connected in the flashback chapter, which is in the next chapter. So I don't know if this is making sense because I have to talk in very vague terms, but what I'm trying to say is I screwed up because they can't be back-to-back chapters. They can still both be individual chapters that will stand perfectly fine on their own. That's great. They're valuable, and I think I could have a lot of fun twisting my reader expectations and doing some like dramatic irony situations where, like, you know, there's some things that are hidden that the readers don't know and vice versa. So I definitely want to keep the individual chapters. I just hate the placement. They cannot be back-to-back. Otherwise, it's a dead giveaway how Jaden and character B are connected and how all of that ties in to a subplot that I have. So basically, I had to rearrange. I'm still working on rearranging some of these chapters. Like, I have up to chapter 10. Are they in the right order? Probably not. Am I going to keep them in the order that I have in my document? Also probably not, because again, it's like logistical purposes. I don't know if I want to set the reader up boom, 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 and then it's like super obvious, because especially if you're binging and then you got one chapter and then the next one, it's the same information and then it clicks and then it's like predictable, versus if I keep the same chapters but I mix them up and do one, because one has to be chapter 2. The one with Jaden absolutely has to be chapter 2. So I keep his as chapter 2, but I move the flashback chapter to like way later in the book, let's say like chapter 15 or something like that. Then hopefully, fingers crossed, readers will have forgotten about what I mentioned in chapter 2. So it'll be like foreshadowing. So if people do happen to remember, it's like a little breadcrumb, a little foreshadowing. They'll be like, oh my gosh, wait, is this connected? But hopefully most people will forget about that little tiny detail way back in the beginning if I can spread it out far enough, and then my plot twist will be successful. That's the plan. That's what I'm just kind of trying to do. But we're only up to chapter 10. So we're only up to where Natalia is just at the bureau, meeting FBI people, and she's getting trained and tested. And then I'm thinking I'm going to end it where there's going to be a big, like, actual emergency. Like, what started off as Jaden kind of messing with her turns into, like, an actual emergency within the organization. So that's where I left off. I have so much to do this week because I missed a day of school. I have a lot of homework to make up, so I don't think I'm going to be able to continue outlining until this weekend, which I don't even know how much outlining I'm going to get done this weekend because it's Easter weekend. It's a big thing in my family. We always celebrate Easter, so I'm just like, I don't know how much I'm actually going to work, but we'll try. So I think that's why, because this vlog is already getting incredibly long, I'm actually going to split this chapter by chapter outlining vlog up into 2 parts. So this will be part 1. Everything you're seeing, including this outro clip, will be part 1. I'll cut it off here, and then I'll be back next week to film and finish part 2, which will conclude me doing it. Because honestly, I'm only up to chapter 10, and again, if I estimate there to be around 40 to 50 chapters in this book, I have at least 30 more chapters to plan. So basically, that's a lot more footage I have, a lot more content I can film for you guys that will hopefully be interesting and entertaining. Hopefully more than this. I got sick, so I literally was like slacking on updating y'all. So I apologize for that. So this seems abrupt, but I promise we'll be back next week for part 2. So please stay tuned. Also, before I forget, if y'all, if you're looking for an update, if you remember what I said in several other clips about student council and about me getting in and finding out the results, I did officially get in. I'm literally so happy. The results got announced while I was in the midst of my misery on Saturday, which was like the worst day. That was when I was going through it. My original plan was to open the email on my computer and then use my phone to like record my reaction and stuff. I could not. Guys, I not only did I look like a train wreck this weekend, not a pretty sight, but I just did not feel up to it, so sorry. But you're getting a few days later reaction. I'm so happy though. So yeah, I officially got accepted and I'm in student council. That is huge for me. If you didn't know, all 3 years in middle school, I was in student council. I was actually like 7th grade class president, which is a really big deal, like really significant in my resume. And then this past year, freshman year, I moved states, so I took a break. It was just really overwhelming. Plus, I didn't make the deadline anyway, so I wasn't eligible. And then I tried again for next year, and I got in as a representative for my class, for my grade. I am thrilled. Like, it's so exciting. So that'll definitely take up a lot of time, but it's something I for sure plan to prioritize. But that does not mean I will not be publishing this book next year. I swear I will. Just wait, just be patient with me. But anyway, I wanted to share that because I've been teasing and leading up to it, and I'm so happy. It just seriously made my weekend, and yeah. Anyway, like I said, this video is getting so long, so if you stay around till the end, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. All of your support really keeps me going. I say this every time, but I will never stop saying it. I love all of you. You're literally the best. I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Bye!